With the LA Valiant homestand weekend not kicking off till Sunday, I've decided to postpone my next Overwatch League playoff race rundown and preview of this event till tomorrow on Friday. So instead, today I'm going to make what will likely be my last look at the final 7-man rosters of the Overwatch World Cup teams 2019, at least until Team USA finally unveils theirs. Well, that's not to say that my Overwatch World Cup content will end, as I still have some ideas that I'm going to explore over the next few weeks, such as a complete international power rankings. That said, for this video, I've picked out some of the non-seeded teams that I think you should keep an eye on for the qualification tournament, discussing who's made their respective final sevens and which players in particular you should keep an eye on. I'll clarify that this is in no particular order, so let's start with Team Denmark. They announced their final seven a couple of weeks ago, with perhaps the best graphic I've seen so far throughout this process. Henningsen was selected at main tank, with Molfig partnering him at off tank. The support pairing of Kelix and Scalar were chosen, as the three remaining positions on the team were filled out by Shax, Fisher and Naga. Overall, I don't think too many complaints can be made about the players chosen for this final seven, perhaps the only unfortunate absentees being the Danish HSL eSport teammates of Fisher and Henningsen, Zapre and Ding, who I'm sure were competitive in the tryout process, given the quality they showed in the EU Contenders final triumph. That said, I think this roster combines a great mix of experience and up-and-coming talent that makes this team a very exciting prospect heading into the World Cup preliminary qualification, and I genuinely believe they have a very good chance of knocking out a seeded team to qualify for BlizzCon later this year. If I had to choose a key player from this final seven to keep an eye on, for me it would have to be Fisher. The man has been on fire at the end of his past EU Contenders season, with performances on heroes like Hanzo being crucial towards HSL eSports' success. So with the way the meta currently is, I expect him to play a major role if his team looks to be successful. From Denmark, I'm now going to take a short trip south to Germany and look at who's made their final 7-man roster. At main tank, Hadi was chosen to play alongside Moose at flex tank. Support saw Germany pair Rafid alongside I'll Be The Best, whilst the DPS trio within the final seven was made up of Fi, Engineer and Raddy. There wasn't any surprises in this rather predictable final team selection, with it perhaps only unfortunate that the meme partnership of Moose and Sea-Moose never came to fruition, although Rafid is more than deserving of a spot in this team. When people have been talking about teams to look out for as dark horse qualifiers for the Overwatch World Cup this year, I haven't seen too many mention Team Germany, which I think is perhaps an oversight. Purely based upon the trial scrims I've watched, this team looks very comfortable playing with the Mei Hanzo pull port meta that we currently have, with specialists playing at each position, so they could surprise a few. But the success I think will rely on the play of Engineer, who's going to need to show off his ability on heroes away from Torbjorn like Hanzo, who you might not realise he's quite good at. And if Moose can adapt to playing with Sigma, there's every chance they can sneak through qualification to BlizzCon. Let's again continue our European road trip as we hop across the next border to the Netherlands and have a look at the announced final 7-man roster for the Overwatch World Cup this year. Dans and Brucen pair up at tank this year, whilst Crusade and Trispit were selected as a support duo, and the DPS is the incredibly strong trio of Facility, Jonah and A10. It's hard to argue that this team, on paper, isn't incredibly stacked, with strong talent from contenders seen, and they should definitely be taken seriously in the qualification prelims. As a UK fan, I can say that A10 choosing to represent the Dutch side instead of Team UK is a massive boost to Team Netherlands this year, having watched his performance recently as well as in the UK trials, and I think it will be him turning up to perform alongside Facility. It will be key in seeing how far of his developing and improving Dutch side can go in the Overwatch World Cup this year, with enough quality talent and experience across the board to finally make it to BlizzCon. Now taking a flight or ferry north, let's take a closer look at the unveiled Final 7 for Team Norway in 2019, a team that I also think isn't getting as much focus as it should be compared to others. Decod returns for another year at main tank, with Tricky coming in at off tank. Mimio got the final nod at main support, and she is partnered alongside Henki. And just like the majority of the sides this year, Norway have selected 3 DPS, who are Track, Fawad and Onigod. Just like the others, I think this is another really strong squad, and I don't think there can be many issues with the final selection, except for the surprising omission of Spectral, who just seemed to disappear off the face of the earth, as this Onigod guy has come out of nowhere to take his spot. Jokes aside, if Onigod and Decod play to their potential and quality, at their best, I reckon this could be one of the strongest sides from Europe competing this year. It is more than capable of taking down some of the other seeded sides, and battle their way through the qualification prelims, depending upon who they face. For now though, let's take a break from Europe to quickly mention some potentially competitive countries from some other regions. From South America, let's take a quick look at the final 7 for Team Brazil, with this year sees Shozen at main tank, Honorato at off tank, a support duo of Alamar at main support and a flex support Ole, and lastly, a DPS trio of Lyko, Marif and Ludwig. Throughout the years, Brazil have often underperformed at the Overwatch World Cup, but their roster for this year is made up of some quality players that represent the top teams in their contenders region, as well as having some Overwatch League experience of their own, and the Boston Uprising Alamount. That said, if a team can gel well together and a DPS player like Ludwig performs to his absolute best, then this side could put up a challenge against some of the more rated teams this year and go quite far. As for the other non-European team I want to talk about, let's take a moment to look at the final 7 who's been selected in 2019 for Team New Zealand. At main tank, Joker's been selected to play alongside Plies. As support, the partnership will be Jungle and Truth, whilst the DPS triplet chosen include Karlhex, August and Signed. This team of course has some quality talent from Australian contenders, but the reason I want to talk about this team in particular is because of what will likely be the starting DPS duo. On paper, this pairing of Karlhex and Signed looks absolutely nutty, with Karlhex starting to finally show off his talent, despite Boston's struggles in the Overwatch League, while Signed has been earmarked as one of the most promising DPS talents and contenders for a couple of years now, and was on the books of Team Australia. So if his pair can gel and play to their absolute best, they could cause a lot of problems to the opponents they face, and take New Zealand further than many expect they will. There's plenty of other teams that definitely could do well in the Overwatch World Cup this year. For instance, there's Thailand with their key trio of Mickey, Oputo and Titawa, whose veteran experience and quality could see an improved performance from his country this year. Let's not ignore the Iberian Peninsula either, featuring Team Spain and Team Portugal, whose mix of upcoming contenders' talent, alongside Overwatch League experience, could see them do much better than people might initially think. Remembering that Neptuno and Grey will likely be starting at DPS for their respective countries, rather than their usual support roles. And who could forget the hidden gem is Team India, with Cruzy hoping to live up to the quality that was their final 7 roster announcement, and I recommend you go and see that on Twitter. That said, I hope to talk about some of these teams in more detail, but I'll look to do this when I get round to my Overwatch World Cup power rankings, but I want to make soon. However, before I end this video, there's just one more team I want to quickly look at the final 7-man roster for. With Liam at main tank, Pure Irish at off tank, Mutes at main support, Scally at flex support, and a DPS trio of FlexG, Wheat and Buckle, the Celtic Wolfhounds, Team Ireland, are a team you probably don't realise yet are about to take the World Cup by storm. I mean, just look at them. That is Guinness fuel perfection if I've ever seen it. And I'll warn other countries now, if you underestimate them, you do so at your own risk. And with that, we reach the end of this around the world tour of some of the strongest unseeded final 7-man rosters for the Overwatch World Cup this year, and I'd like to thank you for watching. As I mentioned at the start of this video, I'll be returning tomorrow to look at the current state of the playoff race, as well as previewing the LA Valiant homestand weekend. So if you enjoyed, and don't want to miss out, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter for this continuing competitive Overwatch coverage and content. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.